Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the 2021 edition of What's Great in Our State. I hope you've enjoyed looking at some of the artwork that was created by youth that are served in our state-operated treatment programs. For those of you that have joined us in the past at our in-person events, you know that we feature children's artwork and people can see it in person, and it's really lovely. And we thank the youth for sharing their artwork with us virtually this year. And we also want to thank the staff at the New York City Children's Center who support creative arts in our treatment programs, and they help to gather the artwork and submit it to us. So now we're going to start our program with a message from Commissioner Sullivan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ann Sullivan, your Commissioner for the New York State Office of Mental Health, and I would like to welcome you today to What's Great in Our State 2021. This is an opportunity to celebrate all the great work that all the child providers have done across the state this year during this very, very difficult time. During this pandemic, it's been critically important that our families and our youth stay healthy and safe, and you have all been a part of making that happen. So thank you so much. But we would like to give honors to a few special groups, a few special individuals, some systems of care, some individuals who have worked in advocacy, some providers, some school districts who have just done exceptional work this year. So while I'm saying thank you to all of you, I know that the honorees have done a little bit of very special work that we would like to highlight today. So thank you so much for all you've done. And please, let's all celebrate Mental Health Awareness Week, which Governor Cuomo has proclaimed for this week. Again, it's Mental Health Awareness for Youth, and we're very excited about being able to have that proclamation to recognize all the great work that's being done. So again, thank you so much, and I know you look forward to what today will be a virtual presentation, but hopefully next year we'll be able to see everyone in person. So again, congratulations to all the honorees, and congratulations to all of you who have done such great work this year. Thank you.
Thank you to Commissioner Sullivan for that welcome. And I'd like to welcome you as well. My name is Donna Bradbury, and I serve as the Associate Commissioner for the Division for Children and Families here at the New York State Office of Mental Health. And I can't thank you enough for setting aside the time to join us today in this celebration. So May is Mental Health Month, and you just heard the Commissioner talk about this week being Children's Mental Health Awareness Week. And this event, What's Great in Our State, is our way of celebrating children's mental health awareness. And we want very much to share with you all of the good work that all of our nominees and our honorees have been doing throughout the year to support children and families. We're going to hear some really fantastic things today. We're going to hear from a young person who's inspiring change. We're going to hear about clinicians who are providing services in a very innovative way. We're going to hear from a systems collaborative that's bridging the gap between schools and healthcare. We're going to hear about a parent who is tireless in her efforts to advocate for and with families. We'll also hear about a school that's totally committed to the concept of wellness. And finally, last but not least, we'll hear about a mental health leader who's devoted her career to supporting children and families. So without any further ado, we are going to get on with our program. And the first thing that I would like to do is to introduce to you our keynote speaker. We're very, very happy to have a speaker at this event. She's joining us virtually, and I'd like to introduce Alyssa Bruno. She's an award-winning and best-selling author specializing in emotionally intelligent leadership. iTunes ranked her radio program, Heart to Heart Conversations on Leadership, Your Guide to Making a Difference, in its top 200 K through 12 podcasts. She served as Maine's Assistant Attorney General and was Assistant Dean at the University of Maine School of Law. While working as Associate Professor and Academic Dean at the University of Maine, Augusta, Holly Alyssa was selected Outstanding Professor. An alumna of Harvard University's Institute for Educational Management, she also taught courses for Wheelock College. She's authored several books, and her sixth book, Happiness is Running Through the Streets to Find You, Translating Trauma's Harsh Legacy into Healing, which was published last year, sold out immediately. We're so excited to have her join us today. Please welcome Holly Alyssa Bruno.
Hello, my friends. I am so glad to be with you. I'm excited because when I think of everyone who's listening, everyone who's watching, I see hope. I see lights of hope lighting up all across New York State and all across the country because of what you're doing. You know, back in the 14th century, a man named Hafiz wrote, "Ever since happiness heard your name, it's been running through the streets trying to find you." Was he wild and just not knowing what he was talking about, or was he telling the truth? I think Hafiz was telling the truth, because in the darkest of times, we can find the greatest light. In the most hopeless of times, we can bring hope. And everyone who's being honored today, is a bringer of the light of hope. And look, as we celebrate together National Children's Mental Health Awareness Week, look what this young woman is saying to us about hope. She's saying, "I do not fear the night because I have come to love the stars so much." We're here today, Donna and I and everyone, we're here today to honor you as the stars all across New York State who are making a difference in everyday ways. Thank you for choosing this calling to be the light, to be the hope in the dark times. And we know, yes, we know how dark this last year has been and why we need hope. So let's take a look. Look, Emily Dickinson, just across the border of the state line from Albany, Emily Dickinson in Massachusetts said, "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the song without words and never stops at all." Hope carries us through the pandemic. Hope carries us through our dark nights. Hope carries us through trauma. And if you have hope, you have everything. Everyone who's being honored today and everybody who applied for the honor, you are bringers of hope and you are giving people the absolute essential of what they need. And here's something else you do with hope. And I love that Einstein said this, because we think of Einstein, we think of all his IQ points. Well, guess what? Dr. Howard Gardner talked about multiple intelligences. Each person has her own gifts. Your work across the state of New York is to help everyone find her gift. And look how Einstein honored that. He said, everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, the fish is going to think it's stupid. Well, you work with people every day who are otherwise able, who have gifts, who have talents, who have strengths. They might be hidden in the darkness, those strengths, but you help people find those. And that is the power of hope. And I'm going to bring it home right now. I'm going to make this personal. That little 2.5-year-old girl, that's me. That's me in upstate New York. I grew up near Big Flats, beaver dams, painted post, horse heads. Yeah, I grew up in Corning, New York. And that's my mother from Olean. You look at the picture, what do you see? Well, what I see is a child splaying her hand out. If you move your hand like that child, like I was, you'll see that it hurts. It's an outstretched way of saying, "Help me, please." Why? Because this was 1948. My mother was mentally ill. She was psychotic. She became several different people. My father was a brilliant man, and he was also a pedophile, and he was a sexual abuser. As I say these things, I don't do them to alarm you. I do them to say that so many of us who look like we're doing fine from the outside in, from the inside out, have faced trauma, have faced pain. And the thing that matters most to us is the people that bring hope. And look at that little girl's eyes. She's saying, help me. Back in 1948 in Corning, New York, there were no mental health clinics. There was no help available. Look at all you are offering now and rejoice, rejoice. Honestly, the system that was available to me was the school system. And as soon as I could get there, I talked my way into going to school at 4 years old. As soon as I could get there, I started to get help. So look, hope gives us the possibility of addressing our trauma. We have been through great trauma in this last year, and traumas, demons, monsters, and dark nights, they call upon us to help each other, right? This last year, you've done all kinds of things you didn't know you could do, but you're doing it. Hope, working together, bringing out the best, looking for the able, the ability in all of our abilities, helps us become our best selves, embrace our difficulties, find the unlovable in ourselves and others, connect to beauty and joy, and to call on hope to make a difference. This is what you're doing. And as I was researching you, look what I found. Yeah, hope is being able to believe there's light despite all the darkness. Desmond Tutu, you know where he was in the apartheid time of South Africa. And look what was happening in Buffalo, New York. Buffalo, New York, there was an applicant to be an honoree, and their motto is, does life get the best of you? Or does it get the best you? And my friends, what you are offering people is the best you. And I thank you for that. So yes, I agree with Hafiz. Happiness is running through the streets to find you and everyone you work with, because you bring hope even during a pandemic. So let us look at why hope matters. Look at this little guy. We're here for the children, right? This is their week. When the world makes no sense, what happens inside a child? Well, I know from my own experience, it can be very dark and very hopeless without people who can uplift us and remind us of the joy. And so here's what the pandemic, I say pandemics because we still have COVID, we have racism pandemics, and we had an election that was wrenching wherever you ended up on that vote, it was wrenching. And what does trauma, especially when multiplied like this, what does trauma do? It brings us to be wary all the time, hypervigilant. Have you ever felt like this? You felt like you're going backwards. You lose your sense of humor. You lose your stability. We become needy. I'll speak for myself. My temper gets shorter. That pathway to my amygdala gland just gets really short. And we can dissociate when things are bad enough, when things are hard enough. And I did this a lot as a child. I would just leave my body behind because it was too painful. If I were being hurt, if I were being demeaned, I would just go away. And what this can add up to is either complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is what I have, or post-traumatic stress disorder, because trauma is from the outside in, but we recreate trauma on the inside out. Trauma can be a one-time event like 9/11, also happened in New York State, or it can be a series of events like the pandemic. And so how can we reverse this, and why does hope matter so much? Look, let's refer to one of our experts, Fred Rogers. Fred was a genius in emotional intelligence, his ability to read people as well as he read books. And look what Fred said. Fred said, what frightened children need from adults, that I was just looking at my time. I lost my clock for a minute, but we're doing okay. Fred said, at many times throughout their lives, children will feel the world has turned topsy-turvy. It's not our pretending with an ever-present smile. That's not what's going to help the children feel safe and secure. It's knowing that love can hold many feelings, including sadness, and they can count on people they love to be with them until the world turns right side up again. And look, and this is what all of you are doing, the honorees and everyone who applied. Sometimes the only answer people are looking for when they're going through a hard time is that they won't have to face the problem alone. May I congratulate you for accompanying people through the darkness to the light. And when I choose a gem to evidence for me what you all are doing, I choose a diamond. Now look, I've got purple hair, right? All kinds of color in my hair, red behind me in my office. Why would I have chosen a diamond? Why would a diamond be the example of what you all are? Guess what? How is a diamond formed? A diamond is formed through hard times. A diamond is wounded and hurt and bannered around over and over again until it becomes multifaceted, until like this, it can reflect the light, the rainbows, as the children said in the introduction with their art, choose the rainbows. That's what diamonds do. Trauma that we have all faced is our most rigorous guide. It's my unchosen but compelling pathway to a life of meaning, an uplifting appreciation of beauty, and a deeply anchored conviction to make the world a better place for every child. And Nelson Mandela, also from South Africa, said, may your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. And so let us look at why your being you and being true to you and being hopeful and embodying hope is so important. The Lorax nailed it. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. Things are better because of you. And Carrie Fisher, who faced a lot of trauma herself, said, take your broken heart and turn it into art. Isn't that what you're doing? We all have losses. We all have pain. We all have sorrow. We all have wounds. Instead of those defining us, we learn from them. And we learn, as John O'Donohue said, may I have the courage today to postpone my dream no longer, but do at last what I came here for and waste my heart on fear no more. So let's look at hope in our everyday work. And let's look at hope as an acronym. And I'm going to invite you right now, look at those 4 letters, HOPE. And if you're willing to, just take your pen and write down, what does the H in hope stand for? What does the O stand for? I'll share with you what it stands for with me, but whatever you say for you is true for you, and it's meant to be honored. So here's one person who said the HOPE stands for hold on, pain ends. Here's my choice. Here's my choice. Hope stands for humor, originality, perspective, and emotional honesty. And let me show you why hope matters so much in hard times. Here's a very brief view of the brain. When you look at the brain on the right-hand side, it's different than on the left. Why? Because that red is the luscious red blood that flows throughout our brains to keep us functioning on all cylinders. When we are without hope, when we become fear-based, we become reactors to a life. When we choose hope, we become actors. And when we choose hope, we literally reset our brain. Ready? Tutto di facile. Is Italian for let's reset our brain. And how do we do that? We reset it with hope, and we can get out of the brain draining so that all we can do when the brain is based in fear, we fight, we flee, we freeze like deer in the headlights, we fawn, we people please the abusers, or we float like in dissociation. What we want to do and what we offer people is hope that resets our brain and takes us back into our executive function. So in our remaining time, let's look what the hope stands for. The first thing is humor. Do you know when you laugh, you quickly reset your brain, just laughter, and especially laughing at yourself, resets your brain into your executive function. And that's the part of us, the prefrontal cortex, as you know, that allows us to be decision makers with hope, decision makers with creativity that can see into the future more positively. And here's something else. When we laugh and play is the brain's jungle gym. We could actually recreate new brain cells by laughing. So humor, the first part of hope, is crucial. And Dr. Stuart Brown wrote, when people are able to find their sense of play at work, we become truly powerful figures. So that's the H in hope. The O in hope is originality. And as Queen Latifah said, be bold and brave enough to be your true self, because that's what you got. You have the PhD on yourself. And use that, warts and all. Nobody else can live the life you live. And even if you're not perfect, no human being is perfect. We always have the chance to bring what's unique about us to life. And as you listen to our honorees, you will see all the uniqueness that they're bringing. And healing from pain and sorrow and wounds doesn't mean the damage never existed. No, it means the damage, we choose hope so that damage doesn't control us. The third part of hope is perspective. It's walking up to the balcony to say, let me get a bigger view here. It's like me during the pandemic, I'd drive down the street, the Head Start programs would be closed, I'd get tears in my eyes. And then I'd look up and I'd say to my divine source, show me something that I love. And a redbird would fly across in front of me. Perspective is another part of hope. We gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which we stop to look fear in the face. My uncle Arturo Bruno from actually the Sicilian ghetto, there was one in Rochester, New York, said, we need to walk into the bocca del lupo, which means to walk into the mouth of the wolf, to turn around and face the fear that we're not good enough, that we're never going to be able to do enough, and to say, I'm enough. Every honoree has said, I'm enough. And look, what Eleanor Roosevelt also said about perspective, she said, you must do the thing you think you cannot do. She didn't have an easy life either. She was also a New Yorker. And she had an alcoholic uncle. That's a disease, right? Alcoholism. He would try to break into her room at night. She had to, as a little kid, push a bureau up against the door. We all know pain. We all know sorrow. Let us keep perspective by reminding ourselves that we can't change anybody else. Grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, and the courage to change the one I can, and the wisdom to know that one is me. Look, Rumi said, welcome the pain, welcome the troubles, welcome them. Don't pretend they're not there. Denial never helped anybody. Welcome the shame, the malice, the dark thought. Invite them in with humor, laughing, because be grateful for every trouble that comes our way, because it's been sent as a messenger from beyond. And our last minute, our last part of hope is emotional clarity. And that means not running from the sad feelings, even if we don't know, we can't see where we're going. It means speaking the truth to ourselves, even if our voice hurts. You have done that. You have seen hard times and you have spoken the truth. And as Paulo Coelho said, I learned long ago, to heal and to help others heal, I need to have the courage to embrace my wounds. So here's my final message, friends. Choose hope. Continue to choose hope, because hope is love. One word frees us. One word frees us from the weight and pain of life, and that is love. And when you think about it, my friends, what you're doing acts of love. Hope is love. Love comes to those who still hope even though they've been disappointed, to those who believe even though they've been betrayed, and those who still love even though they've been hurt. Every honoree has seen challenges, and every honoree has turned that challenge into victory. Look at this image. Sometimes you look at yourself and say, who am I? And other people, the children, look to you and say, you are a lion. You have strengths, and you help people find their strengths. So when in doubt, choose hope. And I'm going to end this way, my friends. Remember, it's not about forcing happiness. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the song without words and never stops at all. Thank you for being bold. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for doing the things you thought you couldn't do. Thank you for wasting your heart on Fear No More. And thank you so much across New York State and the world for bringing the light of hope to dark times. Thank you. And congratulations.
So here's where, because we're in a virtual environment, it pains me a little bit, because if we were in the room with you, Holly, Alyssa, this is what I'd be doing. For a long time, for several minutes. So let's just take a moment to breathe that in. And for me to collect my thoughts, because that was very moving. Thank you, Holly, Alyssa.
Thank you.
All right. So I know, and there's lots of comments in the chat that are very affirming. Let's just say that. And I would pause longer, but we must keep to our schedule, otherwise we will run out of time. So thank you, Holly, Alyssa. Cannot thank you enough for such an uplifting and wonderful keynote. Thank you. So we will move on now to meet this year's honorees. This year marks the 12th year that we have recognized individuals and organizations across the state during Children's Mental Health Awareness Week. The 58 nominations that were submitted were uplifting and inspiring examples of the great work that's being done across the state. Selecting one honoree in each category was extremely difficult, to say the least, and we want to highlight the work of all of the nominees. Throughout our program, we will be sharing a list of the nominees in each category, and we will also highlight their work on the What's Great in Our State Facebook page throughout the rest of the year. So if you are on Facebook and you haven't already liked What's Great in Our State page, please do that, and you can enjoy all the features of all of our nominees. So let's start with the youth and young adult category. Inclusion of youth voice is a critical component for providing quality services to support the well-being of children and youth. In New York State, we always work, to include youth voice at multiple levels, at the service provision, direct care level, in terms of raising awareness and reducing stigma, and as key voices in advocacy. In recognition of the importance of youth peers, an honoree award is given to a youth or a young adult who's engaged in active and meaningful work in their community using their own lived experience. This year, we were happy to receive these 8 nominations in this category. And now let's look at this year's honoree, who is Jeremiah Farducci. As a resident at the Ottilie Residential Treatment Facility, Jeremiah became involved in an OMH Youth Advisory Board. It's called Creating Opportunities for Progressive Equality and Solutions, COPES. He's an active participant in the group and is known as the mayor due to his leadership skills and many contributions to the group. Even after discharge from the residential treatment facility, he's continued to be involved in the group, sharing his research about discussion topics, brainstorming about how to inspire change, and writing proposals with the goal of putting those changes into practice. Jeremiah is an example of how powerful youth voice is as he advocates for himself, his peers, and even for staff. Let's hear directly from Jeremiah.
I just want to say thank you to the youth advocates. I want to thank myself. I want to give myself a round of applause for all the hard work we have done. I want to thank our Vice President, our Vice Mayor, Brianna, for doing all the hard work, and thanking everybody who has come together to put up a great youth advocate meeting. Thank you. We have achieved so many things. I want to thank you for this nomination. I want to give myself a round of applause. I run it, and I want to thank everybody that helped me. I also want to give a special thanks to Miss Sherry Romano and Miss Lucia and Miss Ashley. They have helped me. They have inspired me to come about this win. So thank you, everybody. I couldn't have done it without you. We done so much in the past years. This youth advocate it's not about winning. It's about making mistakes. It's about getting ideas from other people. It's about arguing. It's about going through rough times, talking about how we can change the units. And I just want to say, I want to thank you, because I've done what I had to do. I've done what I had to do. I've done what I had to do. So, thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Jeremiah. So let's move on to the organizational community group. Our work to support mental health relies on the organizations and community groups providing direct care services. In New York State, we're fortunate to have a broad spectrum of community organizations and providers to support the mental health of children and families. Their work has been particularly important in the last year as the pandemic has increased the need for mental health services and supports. This award is given to recognize that work. There were 17 nominations this year in this category. As you imagine, it was very difficult to choose just one nominee. So let's meet this year's honoree, which is the Henry Street Settlement School-Based Mental Health Clinic in the New York City region. These clinics provide wraparound mental health services in the predominantly low-income communities. Social workers are on site to address multiple student issues from behavioral challenges to grief to food insecurity at home, and all those things, as we know, can interfere with learning. The team is reflective of the diverse community they serve, strives to be culturally responsive, and is committed to anti-racist work. In this video, you will hear from the program director, Kelly Lennon, and members of the team.
Hi, I'm Kelly Lennon Martucci, Director of School-Based Mental Health for Henry Street Settlement. I am deeply honored and grateful to accept this award from the New York State Office of Mental Health alongside with my team of talented clinicians. Henry Street Settlement has 8 school-based mental health clinic programs in the Lower East Side of Manhattan that services students from elementary, middle school, and high school with a variety of different diagnoses by providing individual, family, or group therapy on site in the schools. Crisis brings opportunity, and during this time of COVID, we have been able to support not only students, but school staff and families who are all overwhelmed by the collective trauma of COVID. As I always say, everyone in the school is your client, so we not only support the students, but have also offered workshops to teachers and school staff, connected families to resources, and continue to provide therapy to students remotely when New York City schools shut down from day one. Our team of incredibly hardworking clinicians continue to support students and the whole school community through their commitment to anti-racist work, evidence-based interventions, and support to families who may need services in another language. The school-based mental health clinic programs, children and families would not be where they are today if it wasn't for this team of amazing and supportive clinicians. I am proud to have the team introduce themselves as they accept this award alongside with me.
My name is Stephanie Rojas, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor working in the school-based mental health clinics program for grades K through 12.
Hi, I'm Brina Breitbart, mental health counselor at Orchard Collegiate Academy, University Neighborhood Middle School, Manhattan Charter 2, and the Restart program. I work with students in K through 12.
Hi, my name is Natalie Sarju. I am the school-based mental health therapist at PS 134 and PS 20, and I currently work with grades K through 5.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Vasitoro. I'm a licensed clinical social worker with the Henry Street Settlement School-Based Mental Health Clinic program. I work with children middle school and elementary aged at PS 20 and PS 140 on the Lower East Side in Manhattan.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Lamakan, and I'm the clinician for PS 142 and PS 20.
Hi.
All right. Sorry, I think we missed just the last half a minute of that video, but congratulations to the Henry Street Settlement School-Based Mental Health Clinic. So let's move on to the Systems of Care category. Systems of Care is a coordinated network of cross-systems partners who collaborate using governance or infrastructure to achieve their vision and goals. System of Care values include being family-driven, youth-guided, community-based, and culturally and linguistically responsive. Our vision at the Office of Mental Health is that every community will implement a system of care model and will support that vision. And we're fortunate that we are a recipient of a SAMHSA System of Care Expansion Grant to further that work. This award is to give a system of care an award that exemplifies the system of care philosophy and is making a positive impact. So this year's honoree is the Otsego County System of Care. The Otsego County System of Care includes a range of partners, youth and family advocates, social workers, child-serving community organizations, and educators who are working together to ensure that every child and family in the county is connected to the resources that they need to achieve their social, emotional, and academic success. A goal of their system of care is to bridge the chasm between education and healthcare through the Behavioral Health Resource Center, which seeks to increase early identification, increase linkage to services for families, and to improve services through the use of evidence-based practices. SAMHSA has recently highlighted their work for their significant accomplishments, their strong partnerships with schools, and cross-system collaboration to serve youth who are ages birth through 21. And now we'll hear from Susan Matt, the Director of Community Services in Otsego County, who will tell us more about their work.
Hello, this is Susan Matt. I'm the Otsego County Director of Community Services, and on behalf of the Otsego County System of Care, we would like to thank the New York State Office of Mental Health for this recognition. The catalyst to the Otsego County System of Care dates back to our early days in 2013 when we were part of an expansion grant. But then in 2016, the superintendent of our BOCES, which included 19 school districts, not all in Otsego County, called a summit around mental health needs in the schools. And as one would wonder, the mental health people sat on one side of the room and the school sat on the other side of the room. They talked about some of the challenges they're having with kids in the schools and their frustration. And we talked about our service system. We did a nice flow chart on how to access it. We provided literature and brochures. And at the end of several hours, I think everyone went away pretty frustrated. Shortly after that meeting, one of the school principals took the time to walk through with myself and several of my staff the process that schools take when they identify a child in need. And it was a very important conversation because it really highlighted the struggles and limitations that schools have. And after giving it much thought, it became really apparent that what we were expecting of the schools and wanting them to do was not working for the schools nor for the children and families. And we really bear the burden of figuring out a way to make it work, to access our services and to respond to the needs of our children and families. So we engaged in a series of meetings over probably a 6 to 8 month period with the schools and our child and family service providers, social services, to really look at what is it that's needed to build a bridge among our systems. And in the meetings with the schools, it became really clear that we spoke different languages, that they had a lot of processes and rules that restricted what they could do, and also that we had services that kind of expected people to come. And we needed to figure out a way to be in the community, to support our schools, and also to support our families. Those discussions became painful at times, but they also really led us to where we are today, where we have a very robust system of care. We have every school district in Otsego County an active participant in our school district, as well as our family partner agency, which was a lead from early on in our system of care. We've just expanded to include our Head Start, our Building Healthy Families program. We are really fortunate that one of our early partners in the system of care was our evaluation unit, was the Bassett Research Institute and their Center for Evaluation of Rural Initiatives. So there's a lot to be said. And one of the lessons learned is don't always include people who speak like you in the conversations, because for us, we learned a tremendous amount from our partners who aren't steeped in the mental health world. They're kind of on the edge looking in, and they've brought valuable insight and educated us so that we can all be stronger together and get to where we need to be as far as responding to the needs of our schools and our children and family.
Wonderful. Congratulations. Congratulations to Otsego County. So we are a little bit more than halfway through our program. And as soon as we get our slide back here, we're going to talk about New York Project Hope. So this past year, I don't need to tell anybody, this past year has been particularly challenging. And New York Project Hope helps all New York residents understand their reaction and emotions during the COVID-19 pandemic and provides resources to help you take care of you and others that you care about. New York Project Hope offers an emotional support helpline staffed by trained crisis counselors, plus coping tips and resource linkages. All services are free, confidential, and anonymous. And you can learn more about Project Hope and the services by visiting the website at newyorkprojecthope.org. That's New York Project, or I should say, rather, nyprojecthope.org. And I encourage you to take a look at that. Our program break is brought to you by Project Hope. So just as a flight attendant tells the passengers to put your oxygen mask on yourself first before you assist others, the same philosophy holds true for folks navigating COVID-19. We all carry a lot of stress, and New York Project Hope knows that learning how to take a moment to soften that stress can make a big difference as you move through the rest of your day. So let's take a minute right now to relax and breathe with this exercise from New York Project Hope's website. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that little breather. Now we're going to go back to the honorees. And the next category is the family caregiver category. The inclusion of family voice is another one of the values of the system of care philosophy. And like the inclusion of youth voice, the importance of family voice and their lived experience is crucial. Family peers offer education and perspective that are central to supporting families and providing quality care. This award recognizes family members or caregivers who, through their professional or volunteer work, have made a difference in their community using their own lived experience. And I'd like you to meet this year's honoree, who is Bethany Morgan. She has used her lived experience, extensive training and experience to put her passion for supporting youth and their families into action. Bethany works as a family support specialist for Best Self Behavioral Health Care, where her contributions include collaboration on the development of a training for clinical supervisors to increase their knowledge and understanding of family-driven care principles and practices, advocacy for improvements in the organization's engagement with families, development of a parents group, and involvement in the planning of a family advisory council. One of her nominators notes she has always taken a very active and compassionate role in helping any and all families that walk through our door, while going out of her way to provide support through her own lived experience. Let's hear from Bethany about her passion for this work.
Hi, my name is Bethany Morgan, and I'm a family advocate at Best Self Behavioral Health in Buffalo, New York. I would first like to thank my coworkers for nominating me, but more importantly, for always valuing what I bring to the table. I have a unique situation. As a foster child who was later adopted, I spent a lot of time in New York State systems of care, and then again had to utilize them when I had a son with a learning disability, a daughter with a serious mental health diagnosis, and most recently a grandson with a developmental disability. Navigating throughout these systems and now working in a children's mental health clinic, I have seen just how important family voice and choice is when working with children and families. As a single teen mom, I had to attend most school meetings, doctor's appointments, mental health emergency room visits by myself. I remember questioning the actions of people and some of the things they said in my own head, but I had been conditioned my whole life to just tell them what they wanted to hear, because clearly the educated people in the room knew more than I did. Until one day someone asked, "Miss Morgan, how do you feel about your daughter's treatment? And what would you like to see happen?" That person was a New York State credentialed family advocate, and that day changed my life. I learned that my voice matters and that nobody knows my situation or myself and my children better than I do. In my current position at Best Self Behavioral Health, I ask therapists, other providers, and the community the tough questions and force them to think outside what they know, what they've learned, and what they're comfortable with. I encourage families to use their voices to come up with solutions and goals that not only look good on paper, but that are actually attainable for their families in their current situations. I rarely take no for an answer, as anyone who knows me will tell you. I don't believe change comes from just sitting by quietly. If there aren't avenues for families to get what they need, I encourage them and empower them to advocate until there are. I'm often asked what my mission is. That's simple. Continue empowering parents and advocating in Albany until every college offers a course on family engagement. Every school, family court, and clinic has a family advocate available. And to make sure that proper funding to deal with children's mental health and mental health as a whole is provided. I will also continue to promote the importance of valuing lived experience. There's a saying, if you're having trouble walking up a hill, the best people to ask are the people walking down that same hill. Thank you again.
Congratulations to Bethany Morgan. So now let's take a look at our school and school district category. As we've seen in the last year, schools are an important partner in supporting the mental health needs of children, youth, and families. The School and School District Award is given annually to recognize a school district or individual school that's doing exceptional work to support the wellness and mental health of their students, family, and staff. We received 10 nominations this year in this category, and it was, of course, extremely challenging to pick the honoree. But let's move on and see and meet our nominee, which is Great Neck North High School. Mental health and wellness are priorities at Great Neck North High School. Their multidisciplinary team strives to weave wellness instruction and practices throughout the fabric of their school culture. Now let's hear directly from the counseling team at Great Neck North High School.
Hello, I'm Owana Scholl, school social worker at Great Neck North High School. The counseling team of Great Neck North High School would like to thank you and extend our appreciation of this recognition. It is an honor for us to have been considered. Great Neck North High School places tremendous focus on the developing of the whole student. This entails not only the academic, but also the social, emotional, and mental health components of their development and growth. We recognize the myriad challenges students face, whether peer-to-peer relationships, family dynamics, tragedy, or adjusting to a new community, school, country, and we take painstaking efforts to develop a rapport, trust, and a relationship with the students we serve in order for them to navigate through these obstacles and to learn and hone the skills necessary to cope and grow as a result. A wonderful addition to the team has been Mark and Jackie from FCA's Family First, who have been working very closely with our ENL students and their families. The counseling staff at North High School prides itself on its team approach, particularly with the more sensitive cases. The work we do is always about the students and meeting their needs. This recognition is an amazing way to celebrate our team and our students. Thank you very much for honoring this work. And now I'm going to turn to Mike Neary, our chairperson of guidance, to introduce everyone else.
Hi, we thank you again for this recognition. My name is Michael Neary. I'm the Director of Guidance. Introducing the first row, we have Miss Kristen Corrigan, Mr. Mark Fernandez, Dr. David Chang, Miss Awana Scholl, you have met already. From the back, we have Miss Amanda Riley, Miss Jordana Cohn, Miss Kim Semder, Miss Corinne Tordoris, Mr. Peter Hadassi, and Dr. Anton Berzins. This is our PPS team. Thank you.
Wonderful. Congratulations to Great Neck North. So now, last but not least, we move on to our Lifetime Achievement category. This award is given annually to recognize professionals and volunteers who have shown a lifetime commitment to strengthening the mental health of children, youth, and families. The selection of an honoree in this category was especially difficult this year as we received more than 16 nominations, all of whom are deserving of recognition. So let's meet this year's honoree, which I'm pleased to say is Kathryn Coons. Kathy has dedicated most of her career to direct service, advocacy, and the oversight of programs for youth dealing with mental health issues. She began her career over 30 years ago in Rensselaer County as a child and adolescent therapist, and then moved into the newly formed intensive case management program. She developed and expanded the program in Rensselaer County and became a resource for children's ICM programs across New York State. Under her leadership, Kathy developed the county's Children's Single Point of Access Team, or SPOA, and nurtured the development of the Parent Advocacy Program and the Youth Advocate Program as well. Today, Kathy serves as the Rensselaer County Mental Health Commissioner, and she also serves as the chairperson of the New York State Conference of Local Mental Hygiene Directors, and previously she chaired the Children and Families Committee. Just on a personal note, I'd like to recognize Kathy myself. I had the pleasure of working for Kathy for many years when I worked at Rensselaer County, and I'm so pleased that we're honoring her today with this Lifetime Achievement Award. Let's hear from her.
Good afternoon. I'm Kathryn Coons, and I serve as the Commissioner of Mental Health in Rensselaer County. I want to thank all of you who have made this award possible, and especially thank Catherine Mashel, my predecessor, who nominated me for this award. I am humbled to have been selected to receive the 2021 Lifetime Achievement Award, and I am truly stunned that I am old enough to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award. Throughout my 4+ decades of serving children, youth, and families, whether in direct care or administration, I have tried to assure the voice of those receiving services is heard and all are empowered. There are some values which I have worked to abide by as a mental health professional, which I would like to share with you today, and hope this offers you encouragement. 1, always keep your eyes on the needs of the persons we serve. 2, respect the unique culture of every person and family. 3, strive to improve the systems, networks of care to be more effective and coordinated, focusing on the needs of the person and not the needs of the institution. 4, strive to work ourselves out of a job by empowering all the people we serve. And 6, remember who we really work for, the persons that we serve. They're our boss. I know the work isn't done and there is much more to do. We can't be fearful of innovation and new reimbursement models or models of care. We need to step into these opportunities and be a positive influence in shaping the change. Now more than ever, as we strive to meet the ever-increasing needs for children, youth, and families, which is resultant of the pandemic, we need to be innovative, listening to the needs of others and creating a means to address the needs despite limited resources of finances and workforce. We could meet these challenges if we work together and uphold one another. I want to thank you for this recognition, and I hope I have been an encouragement to you, especially today, as you have been to me. Be well and be hopeful, and I thank you so much.
Thank you for that inspiring message, Kathy, and congratulations. And this is the conclusion of our event today.